Yo, what up?
That was like a quantum realm 10 minutes right there.
Hey, I like the reference. Nice.
You already know.
Yeah. Is it cool if I record this? Cause I got some fire in my brain.
Yeah, sure.
All right, cool. What's Gucci?
Not much. Just went to a softball game.
You played?
No, I watched
Oh,
one. I haven't.
I thought you were doing another like softball league thing. I was like, yo, this guy.
I will this summer though.
Are you? There you go.
But try.
All right. Good stuff.
Going
Um,
on with you.
um, other than the usual, I got that house party protocol going through. Um, it's like really good homework. I did. So let me rephrase. It's good practice, cause oh, I got some popo. I'm not getting pulled. That's ambulance. It's good practice because um, you just go through the not the motions, but you go through the regimen of like, if you have this scenario, what are you gonna do, and then you kind of go from there.
Yeah.
Like I literally just did that. I literally did something with the ankles today on my protocol. Like literally one step out of a bajillion steps, and I was like, all right. And then I had a kid earlier today, and we did some ankle things, and it's starting to move way better. Like it's pretty exponential. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm moving my ankle a little better. It's like, yo, what is this feeling?
Really.
It's crazy. It's real. It's pretty cool because I mean it wasn't a problem necessarily. Problem meaning like a bone on bone issue. But when it comes to something, and I'll explain the problem. The colloquial words and the regular words of it are he was having he can like crack his ankle or snap, snapping sounds whenever he walks. You know what I'm saying? You ever hear that?
Yep.
So it
I do that.
happens quite often. I could do it too. Um, and you're like, okay, it's just a sound. Like you just like you crack your knuckles, right? It's pretty harmless. But in reality, when you have that thing, it is actually a. It could be so many things, of course. It could be like literally so many different reasons. Um, but in this case, I was using a certain method, we'll call it, to improve the sound of it because I was like, all right, if there's cracking at this area of your ankle, and we talked about it before, it's like, where do you feel it? It's over here. And then you hear it whenever he walks, like literally up and down the steps, across the room, whatever, you can hear him. There's only so many structures that it could be. It's not like we have a bajillion different things. So all you gotta do is like look it up in a book. It's like, all right, we got about 4 or 5 different things that it could be. It could be like tendons rubbing up on each other. It could be like a ligament. It could be like, cracking a knuckle, or you have a joint move on another joint. Okay. Kind of like the manipulation thought process, but really smaller kind of amounts. But in this case, what we did was we just improved some of the motion at the lateral part of his ankle, since that was the area. And I did some, obviously you just look up areas, or actually, structures that are at the lateral part of the ankle. And you find out there's like, all right, you got the peroneal tendon, you got all these different ligaments that are in play. And then it's like, what happens if we just get like a millimeter of extra space? And then it's like, yo, maybe we can get a little bit more. If he's stuck into eversion, oh, get him. If he's stuck into eversion, right, like his the lateral part of his foot is kind of like swinging upwards towards, I guess you could say his ear, for a frame of reference. Then you could just say like, okay, what would happen if he keeps on doing that? And then he's like kind of like that one kid that you might have that kind of swings his leg out to the side every time he walks. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Yep.
So that kid is not pronating. And if he's not pronating, that means he's not absorbing force or producing force even in a close to optimal manner.
Right.
So we did some really simple movements, and then we went from there. And then it was super cool because I was like, all right, walk around, see how you feel. He mentioned he feels more natural with his body movements. Give me a second, I'm gonna get some gas.
I got you, man.
Hey, can you guys fill it up? Regular?
Regular, no problem. Yeah.
So anyway, he said something along the lines of, I feel natural when I'm walking now, instead of him trying to think about straightening out, if that makes sense.
All you did was just everting the ankle.
The opposite of everting. So we made him not evert anymore.
I got
That, you know, anti-eversion, if that makes sense, right? So it's the what you could, you know, there's a couple steps you could do. You could do some massaging it, whatever, self myofascial release, all that words, on the perineals, and then you would go to improving how the actual joint works. Now you can start to pronate better, and if you could pronate better, that means you can have a better stress shortening cycle when you're doing things like jumping. And then I said to him, what would happen now if you have a certain limitation in your stride? Because if you start everted in your stride off the mound, that means you're already starting open. And then he's saying, yeah, that's exactly what I feel like I'm doing, because his position is 3/4 of a throw. I'm like, all right, I can see why you're landing open, because you have no idea how to land in a neutral position when you're striding off the mound, when you're landing. So there's like such a big kind of play here from the feet. I guess that's why I'm like super, I don't know why, but I feel like I'm always drawn to the feet. Not that I have a foot thing, it's kind of, you know, not what I'm saying.
Don't forget about the toes.
Say it again?
Don't forget about the toes.
The toes?
That's something you said to me when I was an intern when we were talking about jumping, and you sent me a video with the broad jump, and you're like, everybody forgets about the toes.
Right. Because then you don't express, if you're doing your broad jump from the heels, you're fucked. Give me a second.
Yeah.
Because if you're jumping from your heels, that means you're essentially not getting anywhere when it comes to the push-off phase when you're into gait, quote unquote. What is this person doing? This is not good driving. Give me a second. I got a really incompetent person in front of me. Anyway, that's some cool shit, because it's like, I would say, he said to me, and I literally just tweeted this like a second ago, but he was like, wow, I really thought I was just going to get bigger. Because he already gained like, how many? So he had Tommy John. So he was coming at like 175-ish, give or take. And he's already at 186. So about 9 weeks, he's up 11 pounds.
Yeah.
And he hasn't even used his right arm until like 1 week ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with that being said, I'm like, yo, he's like, I thought I was just going to get bigger. I didn't know that I'd be improving everything as it relates to my pitching and stride. And I was like, yes. I was like, you're doing everything. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, why would you not do everything?
I don't know. It's too simple.
Well, I mean, that's the thing that we're all up against, you know, the thing that you're up against, the thing that I'm up against. It's like, you get bigger, but then people think you're going to get slower because of whatever reason. It's like, well, force production, force absorption.
Yeah.
Physics dictates ... And then you go into some rambling about, what is it? I literally just looked up Newton's Newton's laws, excuse me. And I was like, just Googling things, and I was like, man, it just makes sense. So
yeah.
Anyway, that's like part 5. Like one has to do with the big project that I'm trying to work on, and then it's like its real applicability in like the real world. Like, and that just, we wouldn't have gone there because he didn't come to me for his stride. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And that's what's really crazy, because it's like, because it's not just his stride anymore, but now his lunges, he always felt, now this is really, I mean, I could look at, I think I took a video of it maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Every time he did his lunges, he would always feel his quads. We did that movement earlier, maybe at the beginning of the session, for his ankle. And now he feels all of his glutes, hammies, calf, like everything. And he had to reduce his weight significantly. But he still feels everywhere down there.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's just like, that's the power of that.
Yeah.
So simple. So that's just like I like that when that happens like that, but it doesn't happen all the time. And that might be a problem. I mean, put it like this: I didn't assess his ankles, similar to what you might be encountering when you can't assess your guys to the level that you want to assess at right now. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You're like, yep.
Yeah.
You're like, yep, yep, exactly, yep. Because what you can do now is, when you're seeing individuals with these kind of markers, like their foot swinging out to the side, like, does that make sense? Like
yeah.
when they walk, when you see something like that, that might be a mark. What's the word? That might be an indicator to you saying, okay, we might need to do this one movement because you might not be feeling these things that everybody else is feeling, that you should be feeling, but you're not, right? If you ask a simple question when you do a lunge, and it's like, I don't feel my backside, my hamstrings, and my calves, you feel your quads, for example, like that might be a flag. And that I can even be talking to you, Connor, like your knee thing. It's like, what's really going on? It could be your ankle, and then your knee hurts.
Right.
Which is an interesting topic to think about.
Well, it's like, in the beginning, we thought it was just like the anterior tib tissue quality, and then when I started like analyzing myself, you're not there.
Right.
It was the tibial rotation and
because there's so many different things that happen down there. I wish there was like somebody to say, hey, there's a lot of shit that goes on at the ankle and tibia. We should be looking there a lot more than we are now. I've been looking at this area, not that I have like a foot thing or some shit, but I've been looking at this area since like 2015. Out of the grand scheme of things, I've been doing this since 2010, 11, and like nobody's ever said outright, hey, the tibia and how it rotates are really important to how the foot functions.
now you rarely ever hear that.
You always hear people talking about how the scapula moves will affect how the ball and the socket of the humerus moves. I get it. You hear people talking about how the ribs move, and then this is how this is going to be affected. I get it. But nobody's really like, yo, the tibia? I saw these crazy tibias the other day. That was mad crazy. Nobody says that.
No.
Tibias, man. Tibias.
I guess because it's not sexy.
Yo, tibias are mad sexy. For real though, like really crazy. Like maybe not sexy, but this is crazy what you can do, because it's like if you can get a really good, I don't want to say get tibial motion, but then learn to quote unquote freeze the tibia with a really good medial arch on your foot, and then you're basically holding this thing mid stance. You can literally, you're really just like harnessing a lot of kinetic energy. You're ready to jump, you're ready to sprint, you're ready to deadlift and lunge and everything. Like that's a lot of like potential right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Damn, I'm like, it's just like in my brain, Damn. Anyway, sorry, that's what's in my brain. Did you do anything fun with your peeps today?
I had 3 kids in before I went to go watch the game. Got the T-spread to work again. It's been like acting weird.
Really? Why?
I think
You about to return and get 2 of them?
I think I would if I could. I think it just goes back to, I had just put new batteries in it like 2 or 3 weeks ago, because I think the batteries went out on the manual and said 99% of the issues are from the batteries. So put new ones in, and then I think it was Sunday, I was like walking around, I saw one of the sensors were still on, so I turned it off, and then the past couple of days the thing's been all wonky, and like it was just like doing what it was doing previously, where it basically wasn't even reading, the sensors being broken, and then the main one was just like continually just going through time.
Right.
So I found the one that was kind of off, because when I matched the other ones up with the main sensor, it would stop and it would read.
Right.
And then the one completely didn't read, so I put batteries in and it was back to normal.
Huh.
And it's a lot weirder because I haven't put new batteries in the Jeep Light in over a year since I got it.
You
and
think
I've already done
a
that
bajillion,
with Jeep Light.
a bajillion jumps?
Yeah.
You think it's more sensitive? Like it requires more battery because there's two, like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like a further distance, so it requires a greater kind of tracking or something to that nature.
I think that, and the system, there's like Jeep Light's a laser, the G Sprint is Bluetooth.
Oh, that could definitely.
Yeah.
Huh. So are you
So like the Jeep Light's got the little hole for the laser. The G Sprint looks like literally like a radar detector, where it's got a whole bar in the front of it.
Why doesn't whatever G Sprint, whatever it's called, why doesn't it use lithium ion?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I mean, not that I know anything about batteries, but I know that lithium ion is a little more powerful.
Yeah, and they don't like rechargeable battery, shit like that.
What a concept. Yeah, if it's Bluetooth, just plug it into your whatever at the end of the night. It's like, all right, here you go.
Yeah. So instead of going through a pack of 20 batteries in a month and spending,
did you?
I'm like 2/3 of the way through a new pack, because each one of the sensors has 3 batteries. So I got like a pack of 20 batteries.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I didn't know that.
I didn't know it until I had to change them the first time.
Dang.
But now it's working. It's good, because I was worried that it was going to be all bugging out for the assessment week and, for the summer training in 2 weeks, when I'm going to do all the sprint times and whatnot. But
right.
Keep the batteries lasting until then.
Right. Whew. How are you liking the G Sprint otherwise? Like when it is working, is it good? Is it bad?
I think it's good. Like, I standardized the starting point for at least for the base stealing position, because like some kids were setting up like all over the place.
Right.
So I put it down next to the tripod. Basically said, line your right foot up with this, and that's going to be your starting position. So.
And then when they move, you go, or he goes.
Yeah, when they break the first sensor, that's when it starts. So it depends on the type of start that they do. Like if somebody like gains ground, then it's going to start quicker. But if they just kind of do like a directional pivot, then they might be behind it and going before the timer actually starts. So that's why I got it.
Do you find that having a G Sprint makes you want to do more 10-yard whatever? So you're like on it more? You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, all right, we have it, so we're going to use it, and then we're just going to get better at it.
Like today, I had one of the college kids in, and he had 3 chain resistance starts in his pre-work, and we timed them, and it was pretty accurate. It was like his average time for his assessment like a 1.7-ish, like low 1.7.
Yeah.
And then with the chains today, he averaged like a 1.95 with an extra 30 pounds. With 2 chains. 2 chains.
Chains what? Like, what do you mean?
Chains, with a Z. Like metal chains.
You're sprinting with, like sprinting.
Yeah.
Like you have it attached to a harness and you're like, whatever.
Yeah, we put the...
Holy crap, you're sprinting with chains? And you got a 1.9?
Yeah, with 30 pounds.
Yo, because that's like a certain percentage of body weight, is that correct?
Yeah.
And then you go from there, and then if you take them off, theoretically,
Yo, what's up? I just want to put a wrap on this video. Let me know if you liked this Calls in the Car with Coaches, where I just talk shop with different strength coaches, different therapists out there. Let me know, give me some feedback, drop a like, subscribe, and just give me some information. Does that be good or bad? Let me know if you liked it. All right, thanks.